l'époque, il y avait un maître mot dans ma vie personnelle intérieure. Et ce maître mot, c'était le mot consentir. À toi de consentir une situation que personne peut-être ne souhaite. Alors, à ce moment-là, toi tu écouteras. Toi tu trouveras présemment, non pas à te révolter contre cette situation, non, jamais. On ne se construit pas dans la révolte, on se détruit. On y perd le meilleur. Mais consentir revient tout le temps. À toi de consentir à cette situation et puis de comprendre.
Brother Roger Schutz was born May 12, 1915 in Switzerland. He was the son of a Swiss Calvinist pastor and his mother was a French Protestant. While growing up, he watched his grandmother help the people who were affected and suffering from World War I, and this led him to go to Taizé during World War II and help Christians and Jews and during their time when they were suffering, and he housed those people. But he was discovered by the Germans and they ordered him to leave. So whenever he came back later, he gathered some monks and they had a mission to develop a Taizé community, a monastic community that would be able to have all different types of people from all walks of faith, of Christianity, from all ages, and it didn't matter who you were, but you'd be able to come and you'd be able to have a time where you could focus on your faith and develop your relationship with God and sense your actual calling. And so from a young age, with his grandmother to his founding of the Taizé community, he was really surrounded by his calling to unite and love all types of people.
Throughout Smith's book, we discover the evolution of calling, and especially in chapter 4, we see the 4 stages of life that help us develop our calling and see that to fruition. And we're able to see through Brother Roger's life how he used in the first stage, his adolescence, he was able to look at his grandmother's life and truly learn the value of helping others and loving others through her work that she did helping those who were suffering in World War I. And then we were able to move on to his mid-adulthood and older adulthood stage of life, and where he truly took his vocation and where God was calling him and was able to live that out on a daily basis through his work and through what he wanted to teach to others, especially in grasping the young and trying to take them and trying to help them understand God and where God is calling them. And he was able to do that throughout his entire life and move into his senior years, which is another stage that Smith likes to outline in his book. And in his senior years, he didn't necessarily retire from that lifestyle, but he just was able to sit back and live out the vocation and live it to the point where it was just his daily routine and it was his life and it was nothing like he had to work for. It was just who he was. And so we really see that, and we really see him be able to pass on his wisdom in his senior years. And he did that by not only what he did on a daily basis, but also when he was assassinated, he appointed Brother Aloysius and was able to help him, guide him throughout his life and carry on the Taizé monastic community values and religion.
Something that we can learn from Brother Roger looking at our book by Smith in chapter 6 is that we have the freedom to live out our vocation in the way God wants us to. And that can mean you don't have to please everyone. You can escape tyranny of time, and you have the freedom to love others. So we see this throughout Brother Roger's life and how he lives out his vocation, and it's something that aligns with the Smith book very closely. And so, he shows us that he lives out his life not necessarily to a specific career, but to his vocation. He spent his entire life doing what he felt like God wanted him to do, not necessarily what, specific job he was supposed to have or anything like that. And that God does work throughout our lives in the ordinary daily aspects of it, rather than, in just specific experiences or events.
Throughout Brother Roger's life, he had many successes and challenges. Some challenges that he faced were early on in his vocational fulfillment. He decided to help the Christians and Jews who were suffering during World War II. He aided them by purchasing a house and feeding them throughout these times. But unfortunately, the German Gestapo discovered that he was helping these people, and since World War II was basically a war against the Christians and Jews, his house was occupied and he was forced to leave and go home. Another challenge that Brother Roger faced was more so of an internal challenge that many of us face throughout our lives. Throughout his entire life, he struggled with trusting God and trusting the life plan that God had for him. A major success that Brother Roger had was challenging the systematic modes of oppression throughout his vocational calling. His vocational goal was to unite the many sects of Christianity into one, to follow the plan that Jesus had.
His vocational themes can be defined as encouraging and excelling. Under the theme of encouraging, this includes educating, coaching, and protecting. As an educator, he was able to teach others the ways that he had learned to grow closer to God. He was able to coach them through this process and protect the values which he believed were essential to his community. Under the theme of excelling, this includes leading, managing, and building.
Brother Roger's legacy lives on today as he implemented the mission for modern-day Christians of all denominations to unify together through understanding and peace, instead of disconnect and indifference.
Today we're able to see the application of Brother Roger's life through the idea that he spread of pilgrimage and prayer and silence, and using these tools in order to truly figure out your calling and where God is leading you in life.